In this episode, People Power. We look at the communities hoping to lead a worldwide micro-energy revolution. Tanya takes us on a very special eco-tour of Ireland's most unique protected environmental habitats. But first, we visit Austria and see an alpine town in Carinthia that pioneered clean renewable energy and cut €80,000 a day from their fuel bill. In the last 10 years, a small town in Austria has drawn attention from all over Europe by striking out for energy independence and succeeding beyond their wildest dreams. Kötschach, in the Upper Alps, has breathtaking scenery that draws in tourists for walking, cycling and skiing in winter. But being so remote, it has downsides too, and it meant they were extremely dependent on imports of oil and gas. The town seemed trapped and tied to farming as the only other driver for the local economy. But a 19th century hydropower got the town thinking about an alternative energy future, and today they've much to celebrate. Christoph, is this outfit now traditional to this area of Kötschach?
Yes, Kötschach. We are wearing leather trousers, or we say in German Lederhosen. And it's a nice way of having, you see, this festival below. And we are not always wearing these leather trousers, but sometimes.
Right, so a huge change has happened so far. Can you tell us a little bit about what's happened?
The first part was this electricity side. 21 small hydropower stations were created in this beautiful area.
Using the lakes for hydropower fueled their ambitions to take further action. They built wind turbines in the mountain passes, installed solar PV panels to back up their green credentials, and then turned their attention to finding alternatives to oil for their heating needs. The answer was on their doorstep in the form of biomass from their local forests. Creating district heating run on locally supplied fuels meant farmers became energy suppliers and kept local cash circulating in the community instead of disappearing back down the oil pipelines and out of the country forever.
More than 5 district heating systems are existing now in Kötschach Mountain.
And what fuel is firing that?
Biomass.
Biomass, all wood from the mountains here?
All wood from the mountains, and really from our mountains.
So what percentage of all of your heating now is from biomass?
The biomass heating now has reached more than 70%.
Right, that's huge. Nearly 2/3 of all your heating energy is from wood.
Yeah.
That's incredibly good. And what about electricity? How much power are you generating here for your own self-sufficiency?
3 times the demand of Kötschach Mountain we can produce now here, nowadays. So 340% is produced in Kötschach Mountain by small hydropower, then by a wind power station at the pass to Italy.
In the last 10 years, energy-independent regions are growing like mushrooms in Austria, demonstrating that this grassroots strategy has been the key to success. From Carinthia to Lower Austria, and from Salzburg to Styria, more than 15 regions are now energy independent. So when you look at all of the benefits of reducing your energy and all of your doing and the tourism benefits and all, you must have brought down your greenhouse gas emissions quite a lot.
The normal CO2 emission was 8 tons of CO2 per year and person in Austria, but now we are down to 2.4.
2.4 tons per CO2 per year per person. That is incredibly good.
Yeah.
That's a real model for everybody else to follow. Here in Ireland, we create 14 tons of CO2 emissions per person every year. Getting the local people involved and sharing the benefits is a key part of turning plans into action. Everyone, from hotels to schools and householders, benefit from cheaper heating, piped as hot water through the underground network of insulated pipes. They also have an energy learning centre to make sure that the next generation grows up appreciating the benefits of energy independence. Taking ownership has also reinforced pride in the area and create sustainable employment that will mean this generation will be able to live and work in the region. And are there indirect benefits by money being kept in the town, recirculating in the community, money that would have gone out and buying fuels?
That's an interesting thing. More than 80,000 euros per day is running by fossil fuel out of the Eye Teil Valley. And now we can do something with this money. So this is, I think, one of the best benefits we have. So we are proud of something, we have money for something, and we can develop not only something for Kötschach Mountain, but also for the surrounding.
Local community energy initiatives in most EU countries are now well supported by their governments. The UN Earth Summit Agenda 21 put in place an action plan to encourage self-sufficiency by producing energy initiatives for local needs. Although covered by this international mandate, Ireland has so far only facilitated large wind farms and provides little support and many market barriers for micro-producers of electricity. Microgen could perform a badly needed role in creating resilience in local communities if they were allowed to share in producing their own electricity and to trade their excess power locally with the support of a cost-effective tariff. Irish state bodies still regard microgeneration as uneconomic and difficult to control. To get around this problem, MEGA, the Microelectricity Generation Association, has initiated a new smart cluster system and an independent power company, mPower, to manage this. I spoke to Martin Hogan.
There's a real opportunity there for everybody that generates energy, whether it be PV, hydro, wind, anaerobic digestion, for example, to provide energy to sustain the needs of a local community. So we're trying to establish a smart cluster, a demonstration program with a few smart clusters around the country. One region could be here in Baltinglass, where we have wind, we have hydro, we have anaerobic digestion coming online, we have PV on the local supermarket. And we're interested in bringing all of those, meshing them together to provide for the needs of the local community. So we'll build a production line on one side, and then we'll match that with a consumption line in terms of the local hospital, local industry. The aim there then is that that community will be a smart cluster which will provide for its own needs without interfering with the grid. Intermission has been a big problem with renewable energy sources, and what we aim to do is set up a smart power company, mPower, to allow for us to trade that power without interfering or without causing that intermission problem to the grid. So we'll have a virtual grid or a smart grid within a grid.
Our Irish communities also have abundant natural resources, and we've the potential to launch our own ground-up approach to energy independence. We've the demand. There are plenty of local communities who would like the opportunity to keep the money we spend on our energy circulating at home instead of going abroad on expensive and damaging fossil fuels. And now it seems we have the technology. Foreign investment projects have kept Irish entrepreneurs ahead of the competition, developing smart energy solutions for the international markets. But bottlenecks, red tape, and a lack of attractive feed-in tariffs for microgeneration have stalled progress here. Despite the barriers, local entrepreneurs in Baltinglass feel they have the right mix to get a pilot scheme connected to the grid. What's specially happening here in Baltinglass, Paul?
Well, in Baltinglass, within the community here, quite a lot of people have come together. We're looking at all sorts of different projects. We're looking at hydro, which we've got here in the river behind us. We're looking at biomass. We're looking at solar photovoltaic, wind. We've got a lot of electrical consumers in the town, big consumers, steady consumers, hospitals, we've got factories, pubs, restaurants, hotels, all looking at coming together to making a smart grid, if you like. And this smart grid will produce electricity locally, consume it locally. The hope would be we're looking at a smart cluster. This is quite futuristic, but it's been done in other parts of Europe. We would like to do that here. We're hoping to pioneer that in the town. We have a very, very good grid system. That's an electric network within the town. We're hoping to set up a smart grid here locally in this community, which all of the people from the community can supply power into and sell and swap power, etc.
With the smart cluster, Baltinglass could trade electricity locally. This would be the first major change in how we distribute power since our grid system was first set up. So what are the particular projects?
Here's a very good example of one project we have here. This is the local supermarket, SuperValue. Their project is going ahead with a solar electric installation on the roof, as you can see the guys here in the background. They're going to put a system in that will basically power the fridges, the refrigeration, the lights, all here on site. This project has been put together and sized at the moment to take the particular base load of SuperValu. However, that can be extended at any time.
Arthur Gillespie was an early adopter of renewable energy and knows the benefits. He'd be happy to invest more in microelectricity generation. If the pilot scheme succeeds, he'll be adding more photovoltaic panels to the roof of his supermarket. In the meantime, he will use his excess energy to recharge his electric van for deliveries. And what motivated you to get involved personally in this?
I think I got tired of paying the cost of oil. So in 2008, I decided I'd put up a turbine at home and the pellet boiler and the solar panels. And at this stage now we're starting to pay off. So as a community here, as a retailer, if I can carry that through, and with the solar panels on the roof and electric van, I should be able to keep my costs under control.
Baltinglass, a typical Irish rural community with 5,000 people living in its vicinity, could keep €6 million in local circulation by increased energy efficiency and by swapping imports of oil, gas and coal with their own locally produced renewable energy. That in turn could potentially generate 200 new local jobs. These long-term jobs would range from retrofitting homes and other buildings to forestry, growing energy crops, producing renewable fuels for heat, and electricity from biogas, wind farms and micropower. I talked to Martin Hogan about Mega's concept. So do you see this concept being mainstreamed all over the country?
Well, I think so, Duncan. I think people, once this demonstration programme happens, people will see the value of it. You know, with energy costs rising, there's going to be a common sense element to subscribing to renewable energy and maybe auto-producing yourself. So people, the price of PV is coming down, the price of oil is going up. There's an intersection there, it's going to happen. People are going to be more interested in providing renewable energy and using their own resources to provide the energy locally.
At the moment, it's illegal for anyone generating their own electricity to sell power to other users. They can sell a small amount back to the grid, but the rate is so low that it's not economically viable. To solve this, Empower will form a smart cluster in Baltinglass so they can buy and sell their energy on the local grid. Electricity can be generated from a mix of wind turbines, hydropower, PV or biogas, whatever is locally available. To get around the problem of low feed-in tariffs, Martin's Empower company can facilitate local communities to exchange power through their smart cluster. How is this pilot programme an opportunity?
Well, it's an opportunity for us to deliver local technology. We have RES who are providing the local PV power and wind power. We've got digesters that we're building locally. We've got smart controllers, and we can provide all of that on our demonstration programme. That's all Irish hardware. We've got Irish software in terms of the academic and brain power that we have, the knowledge and the know-how that's been delivered in the UK at the moment, but we can deliver it here on this demonstration programme. So we're ready to go. We have all of the pieces of the jigsaw puzzle. We just have to put them together, and we need some glue in terms of support from the stakeholders.
Smart internet control technology can balance supply and demand on the network. It compares your electricity consumption and production in real times and decides whether to store it, as in hot water and heating, or export it locally, depending on price. I visited Tim Cooper, the inventor of the Emma Smart Unit, about its role in smart cluster demonstrations.
Well, the main problem small generators have at the moment is trading their power. And to enable them to trade power, they have to have a supplier or a company that is a licensed electricity supplier who buy the power from them and who sell it to final customers. And ideally, he wants to buy power when it's cheap and not when it's expensive. So if he can control the load in his customers' houses or properties so that their demand occurs when the power is cheap and that their demand falls off when the power is high, that's critically important to the economics of that particular arrangement. And I believe that that is fundamentally important, or a key issue when it comes to setting up these trading facilities for the small generators.
Rising fuel and energy costs are putting financial pressure on Irish homes and businesses. Microelectricity generation has the potential to reduce business costs and our massive annual imports of fossil fuels. It can also generate additional income for many thousands of farm and other businesses across the country. At his mushroom farm, I talked to Leslie Codd.
So what's the benefits of a business like yours in trading in local green energy?
It would be hugely beneficial for insulating me against the highs and lows of energy costs in the future, and it would also possibly give me an extra income stream if I could get an income from supplying out to other users of electricity, and hence I would be able to reinvest that back into our business and create more local jobs. It would absolutely be very helpful for us.
And at the moment you've got a big wind turbine there. What
Yes.
percentage of your power is that doing?
It's doing between 30 and 40% of our power at the moment, but we would gladly build more wind turbines on site here to be able to supply more to our own farm and just to export it as well, if that ever came about.
And at the moment, are you restricted in doing that?
Well, we do export back, but the amount that we get paid for it is so small that there's no incentive to build more turbines.
Generating, sharing and trading in smart energy within the community is a new concept for microelectricity generation and a grassroots bottom-up approach for communities.
So what do you want to happen here, Paul?
Well, here in Baltinlass, the community itself wants this to happen. So basically they've come together as a group, and the hope is that we would make our own smart grid here, that we would take control of this, and we would, from the bottom up if you like, we would produce our own electricity, use our own electricity, and the nice thing about that is the technology is now here to do that. We've got smart internet protocol, we've got smart meters, we've got a new power generation company that is now empowered to buy electricity, and that has got a certain amount of recognition at the moment. So really we need to get driving that, and our appeal is to the players within the Department of Energy, etc., to give this a push. This can happen. The people of the community want it to happen, but it just needs to be pushed on.
In recent years, Europe has embraced microgeneration and made it happen by easy connections to the grid and economically viable with attractive feed-in tariffs. These countries recognise the social, environmental and economic benefits offered to local communities. But Ireland's state bodies have been slow to realise and grasp the benefits offered by supporting micropower. So by embracing smart clusters now, we could make our local communities more resilient